I'd like to welcome our viewers to what we call Ignite the Spark. My name is Sharp Hackniak. I'm the CEO and founder of Horizons for Girls. We like to refer to igniting the spark. And what that means for us at least, and maybe you're familiar with this, is when you're talking to someone, whether it's a young person or an older person, and you get that look, they're kind of looking at you and zoning out. And I find, especially when I'm talking to students, they will look at me and they'll go, is she ever just going to shut up? I really don't care what she's talking about. And all of a sudden, something happens. You make that connection. You say something, and sometimes you don't know what that's going to be, but you've connected with somebody. And with our students, that's exciting. We refer to that igniting the spark. It's important for us because we're able to engage them, and we're able to then get them interested, concerned about their education. They're involved, and that's really exciting. Project that we're working on right now will be finished in a few days, but it was an idea of one of the students, and they said, hey, there was this fire, there's a lot of victims, how can we help? And so yesterday and a couple of days after this now, we'll be collecting donations that will then go to those families that were affected by that fire. To me, that's exciting because we've been able to engage the students. A big part of what we do are the tools are the mentoring. The mentors are absolutely critical. And I'm excited today because I've actually have two guests with me today. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves in a little bit more detail in a second. But one of them, Joan, to me, it was impressive. She was driving, she's finished with us now. She was finishing an internship for her degree, but she was driving from Appleton to work with us twice a week. That to me is a really good commitment. The other guest that I have with me today, her name is Cara, and she has been nominated for Wisconsin Mentor of the Year. She's in the top 10 finalists right now, and we're waiting to hear. But I'm excited because Cara's been with me. I'm going to let her tell more, but not that long. And I got her very involved right away, and then decided I really needed to nominate this young lady for all of the work she's been doing with us. And she's made it in the top 10 finals. And that's exciting. I'm going to start with you, Joan. Tell me a little bit more again about what it is that your degree is going to be in, how you're going to be using it, and how you ended up driving from Appleton to come to Sheboygan.
Well, first of all, hi, I'm Joan, and thank you for having me on your show. My degree is in health and wellness management. Where I would like to take it is to work with clients in health literacy is really where I would like to take it, so that when they're diagnosed with issues or taking medication, I'd like to be there to help them explain why they're taking this medication, the importance of it, and how to stay healthy, that type of thing. I officially do have my degree now, so from UW Stevens Point. And how I found you was my sister is part of the school district here in Sheboygan, and when my original internship fell apart right at the last minute, she said to contact you, that you would help me out and that I was perfect for the job. So I was grateful I came in, and I was grateful you gave me the opportunity. It's a wonderful experience.
Good. I was glad to have you part of it.
Thank
I
you.
wish that that internship wasn't finished so you could keep being with us.
Well, we'll have to talk after the show because I don't think I'm quite done yet. So we'll talk
Okay.
after the show.
Cara, explain a little bit more about how you found us, why you found us, and interestingly enough, now, doesn't your mother also work in the school district?
Yes, that actually seems to be your catch, is through the school district. I was looking for some more volunteer opportunities, and my mother actually talked to Deb Tricka, who is one of your board of directors, and she mentioned your program. Did a little research into it and knew it was the perfect fit for me. I love working with teenage girls, anyone actually in the teenage age. I absolutely love them. They're kind of hard to handle, a little sarcastic and everything, but I like relating to them. I've been through a lot of what they've been through, and it's kind of easy to hang out with them and kind of give them advice from their standpoint. But I'm excited I'm with this group, and I cannot be happier that I found you guys.
Now, how long have you been with us?
Ooh, I think it was before summer, so probably about end of April, beginning of May was when we actually started. It hasn't been that long, I know that for sure, because I think we did our trip, and we did our trip in June, and that would have been about 2 months I was with you guys, so
Okay.
right in that time frame.
Okay, because I know I put you on a fast track to get you certified right away.
Oh yeah.
Because I wanted, there's training that we take our mentors through, and then it's not a requirement, but certainly it's something we like to do, is to certify a mentor, which means they've gone through a variety of training. And then they've also spent a minimum of 20 hours in the field working with the students. And I know I was able to capture you right away for one of our retreats, which is always fun too, to go on a weekend retreat with the girls. And that to me is powerful, when you can get the girls away from their normal everyday craziness and really take them someplace else and you guys were gone for 3 days.
Yes, it was a 3-day camping, and it was really good for the girls, especially because it was kind of a working trip where they did have to work for their stay. A lot of these girls have not done physical labor, and for them to kind of experience it, and we really only work 4-hour days, and they were just exhausted. It kind of put in perspective for them what their parents are doing. Their parents are doing 8-hour days minimum, so then it finally came back to their realization that, oh, now I kind of understand why my parents are tired, or I understand the work that they're doing. Maybe I need to give them a little more respect for what they do, because it's not easy work. And it was good for them. They really learned how to work together. They learned the rigors of hard labor, and they also seen the positives to it as well, which was huge to see that.
Yeah, they seemed very proud of the work that they were doing too.
Absolutely.
Which was nice to see.
I did not expect them to be as enthused as they were after the first day, but they were actually quite excited when we finished off all of our work in less time than what the director actually thought we were going to do. So that kind of made them happy, like, oh, look at us. We're better than what you thought. So it kind of gave them that little bit of ego trip that they needed to work through the next 2 days.
Yeah, that to me I thought was really kind of cool to be able to do that with the girls. I want to go back to you for a second, Joan. I know that I had you very often picking up our Plymouth students and bringing them into Sheboygan, and then we tried to really look at the programming that Horizons does and how that fit into what you were trying to fulfill with your internship. Because to me that was important too, to not just say, well, okay, I've got free labor and here's what I'm going to have you do. I wanted to try and mesh those together. So I know part of it was working in the garden or the cooking, but what was it, what you expected when you ended up with our students?
Well, I actually refer to my Plymouth client as my Plymouth partner. because I was so new with the area, I would have her on the lookout looking for things for me because I'm driving through construction. So I actually call her my partner. Well, one student I absolutely fell in love with. To this day, I still think of her. She was a very shy student, and by the end, she was talking, I saw in the news about the politics. She was telling me how she disagreed with some of the politics, which was a really interesting concept. I don't realize if she understands how that affected me, because that kind of tells me she's been listening to what I've been saying. She was talking about the price of going to college. She wants to try to get into the UW-Madison location, and she doesn't think it's fair on what they charge students to go to school. And I thought, this is such a cool adult conversation. Is it what I expected? It's what I hoped for. I don't really go into it too much expectation because I'm not sure what students are, how they're going to handle it, because every person is an individual. So I don't go in with a lot of expectation, but I have hopes, and she hit my hopes very high. I was very, very happy.
Good,
So.
good, I'm glad. Now, we talked, Cara, a little bit about that your education path has taken several directions. Why don't you share a little bit about that?
Well, originally I was planned, my whole life was set. I was going to be a large animal vet. I was going to UW-Madison. And my senior year of high school, I became deathly allergic to cows. So that got wiped off the table, even I didn't want it to be. Made a rash decision to quickly go to UW-Stevens Point, no plan in hand. Just went there. About 2 weeks into it, I'm like, okay, let's look at the education field. Went into it, thought maybe English education, looked at the job prognosis, not so much. And then I realized how much I actually enjoyed helping people. So I went back into the special ed area. Once I actually got into it and went through my advanced practicum, it became very clear that what I thought special ed was not what it actually is. It's very, very much education-based, whereas a lot of the kids that I was working with on the EBD spectrum, sometimes you really do not want to shove that history test down their throat. Sometimes they just need someone to talk to, and you just simply couldn't do that. So that's why I kind of veered away from that. Then I decided to take all the extravagant routes. Did think about becoming a cheesemaker for a while, did become a state certified pasteurizer in that quest. Went to cosmetology school, realized I'm kind of nervous to actually work on a human, so that kind of stopped that plan. And then finally came back around to, maybe you need to go back to that helping field, and did a lot of research into it. And this is the path I need to go. So I did re-enroll in UWGB, began my classes again this last summer, and we'll be starting again Monday or Tuesday with my schooling. So I'm excited, and I think my roundabout way of coming to it actually helped, because now all the routes that I pursued makes me be able to relate to the girls better. I can be like, oh yeah, I tried that. Here's what it's like. Mm-hmm. Or letting them understand that I'm human too. I make mistakes. I've had to go through a lot of second guessing and everything else. So if they make a change because they made the wrong decision, it's okay. Other people do it too. And I think that helps them too, just kind of seeing that, like, oh, she didn't have her game plan all set and everything. She had to go quite a few routes. So.
Well, and interestingly, I think I've done, even though it's a long time ago, I've gone through a variety of different career paths. Originally, when I went to high school, I thought I was going to be that professional secretary with that notepad and taking shorthand. I mean, I took shorthand for, I think, 2 years. I mean, and that was not what I wanted to do. Ended up in a variety of things. I was an Avon lady. Oh my God, I went door to door selling cosmetics. That was before there ever even was the internet. Then I was working in a doctor's office for a while as a receptionist. And when I was doing that, I was doing all the insurance forms and everything, and I was the receptionist. making appointments, but then they decided they were going to train me to become a medical assistant. So I'm helping with minor surgeries, I'm drawing blood, I'm prepping people for procedures. And I had no schooling at all. I mean, nowadays there's no way a doctor would consider doing that. And from that, I ended up actually at a radio station and took that job because my mother told me that the people that worked in radio, those were bad people. And of course, when I saw an ad in the newspaper, when they still did that, I said, well, Mom said that was bad. I have to check that out. And I worked in radio for over 22 years. Learned a lot, started as a salesperson. When I retired from that, I was the market manager. I was running 3 radio stations. Definitely learned a lot. Then I decided to switch into nonprofit and did a variety there. I ran a literacy council, I ran a children's museum, I helped with a naval museum, and then the economy took such a dump, there just weren't jobs out there. And I actually volunteered for a mentoring program that works with boys, and I was doing a lot of volunteering at Maywood. And then I said, I like working in nonprofit. I like the mentoring program that I was helping with for the boys. There needs to be one for girls, so I decided to create Horizons. And from that, I decided to create Horizons for Girls. We took resources from the National Mentoring Partnership. I've gone through training with Search Institute, well, a whole variety of training that I've used with mentors. But of all the things I've done, I think this is what I absolutely love. I mean, I love working with these girls. Are they frustrating? Definitely. Some days, I'm just, ready to, go crazy. At the end of the day, and I don't even know where she's laying right now, she's under the table. Faith is our therapy dog, but at the end of the day, she's my therapy dog. So, but I love working with the girls, as you talked about. I love that one picture that we've posted where you were working with one of the students. You were showing them deer tracks or something in the woods?
Yeah, it was actually on a retreat, and this retreat kind of became a sanctuary for deer because they know hunters can't go on it. So they became very friendly to humans. So it was about 20 feet in front of us where a group of deer just walked past. So we were still walking the trail, and I'm like, well, let's go look at these tracks, see if we can see if there was a buck with them or not. And I actually ended up showing her the difference between a buck track and a doe track, or how you can size them out and everything by looking at their feet, direction and all that stuff. And she never knew that deer could be so identified just by their hoof print. And it was kind of cool to show her that, because when they live in the city and everything, they don't see that ever. Mm-hmm. The only track that they may see is like a dog print on some dust. So they really don't get to see that. And I thought it was really cool, especially have those deer so close to you, because even as myself as a hunter, you don't get that often. Mm-hmm. So it was cool that they could be that close to the animals and everything, and that they got to kind of venture into it, like really get down and dirty.
Well, and I think that's part of what made me decide to really turn one of the projects over to you. This summer we did an ice cream social. And I knew some of your connections, I knew some of your passions, and I said, okay, here's what we need to do, just run with it. Why don't you share with our viewers what it was that you were able to put together?
I put together our ice cream social this year. You mentioned in the brief exploration of it, well, we should get Alice in Dairyland, maybe do something with ice cream. And so it got me thinking, okay, well, first step is we got to try to get Alice. So June was booked because it's Dairy Month, and Allison Dairyland is pretty busy during that time, and ended up going into July, which is Ice Cream Month. Perfect. Good integration with that. Now I decided if we have this, we kind of want it open up to the public. If we are getting Alice there, we don't want it to just be our group of girls. We want it to be something where people can go to. So I did check out the Children's Museum, talk to them. They gave us a really good opportunity to come out there, got Alice all that stuff set up, and ended up going to every single Homestead ice cream place in the Wisconsin area to try to find someone who would give us like some kind of donation, because that's the main idea of this social, is some way that we can bring the funds back to these girls as well as bring publicity to us. So knowing that we needed more funds because it's not cheap, once you start calculating all the costs, like, oh, that spoon was okay. We're gonna have to find $5 for that box of spoons. And I ended up using my dairy connection then, because I figured, you know, we got Allison Dairyland, we got ice cream. Went up to some of the largest producers that we had in the state, including Milk Source, which is by far the biggest in the nation. Went up to them, they gave us a very, very nice donation, which I was shocked when Shar told me the check number, I did the happy dance. Went up to one of the farms that I work with for a very long time, just right outside of Sheboygan, and that is Seamers Holsteins. And they gave us a decent check too, just it is as best as they could, especially with the milk prices, and I understood that. And they also gave me the leadway into contacting Quick Trip. So Quick Trip ended up giving us a monetary donation for their facilities, as well as letting us grab whatever we want from their stores. So that was really